The advice I would give to other Kent students that are about to go abroad, I would say, again, do some research before you go.
I'd say do your research.
Do your research.
There's so much more than what is on the leaflets that are given to you. So as well as reading the leaflets that the university gives you, definitely do your own research. Google is your friend.
Know exactly what you're doing, even just silly things like going from the airport to your accommodation. Make sure you've completely sorted things like that.
Make sure you know what jabs you need. I left that a little bit last minute.
If you're going to somewhere that speaks a different language, then just sort of learn the basics, learn a few phrases.
The university offers like a 2-week language course you can do before. I'd recommend that as well. I think that would really help to sort of integrate yourself. You get to know like the locals as well if you can actually speak the language.
Remember a toothbrush, that's a big thing. I forgot my toothbrush.
Basic things like cost of living or like transport, stuff like that, like go with a plan. It is an expensive year, although it's money well spent, but it's still like you will spend probably all of your student loan on your year abroad if you do it properly. And, you know, it is worth just going with a knowledge of like, you know, you want to see this, and like if you got a big trip planned, like try and plan it. And it's just about being aware. I think some people did dive into their years abroad without really researching it. Some people went on years abroad and didn't realise they were going to be taught in the home language.
Join all the Facebook groups and Twitter groups to go out on the trips and things, all the different networks.
Integrate with other people as well. So even if you are going with Kent students, still make sure that you integrate with other people.
You can also make friends with students from other universities that are also about to go abroad. They're a great way, so that when you get there, you know, you might not know them in person, but you know them before you go.
And make sure that you've picked the country that you really want to go to. I mean, there are so many options that, you know, do you want to go to like Norway to do it in English, or do you want to go to America to study English? Like, you know, it's about just being a bit savvy about planning it really, and not to get too scared about it, because I think a lot of people there were 12 of us when we applied, and there were only 8 of us that went because people got scared of their year abroad, and I don't think that's really warranted. I think it's not as big and scary as they make it out to be.
The 3 to 4 months beforehand stressing out about the process were just a waste of time. It all comes together. You've got the right people in place that are going to support you.
Everyone says it's really hard, but it gets better, and you don't believe them. And it really is hard, but it really does get better. So it's definitely worth doing. It's worth sticking it out, because a lot of people I know, about 3 or 4 people on my course, got to their 3rd week and then came home because they didn't like it. And I would have done that if my parents had let me, and they didn't. They made me stay. And I'm glad they did, because I did enjoy it. And it's a really good life experience.
Definitely hold in there, because it's nothing's worse when you see somebody just throw away like a great opportunity because they miss their mum. Like, Skype is real. It's fine.
For me personally, it was made really easy. The study abroad team over there, like, took you to IKEA. They took you where to get a mobile phone. It's just a case of being really aware of how much money you're going to need, and you need to be able to ration that properly and know when your payments are coming in.
Make sure that you've got enough money to keep you going for a little bit before you get your bursary.
I had problems with accommodation, and I would strongly recommend that you take the advice that they give you, and if you have any problems, contact the Erasmus office as soon as possible, because I did so and they were very helpful. And also, you should think that they just want the best of you. So if they're suggesting to live in student housing, you should do live in student housing.
Luggage allowance. I wish that I didn't buy all the books and just, like, I have an iPad now with all the text on them, but I wish I did that to begin with, because when I came back, I had to leave so many things.
I know people who brought like basically their entire house with them, and I didn't know why. Like, people brought like saucepans and stuff with them to Japan. I was like, they probably have saucepans in Japan as well.
Do some research on the type of environment you're going into, just because the cultures are so different. I would have brought like more sports gear if I really knew what Virginia was going to be about.
I wish that I checked what the weather would be like before I got there, so I could take the right sort of clothing. Switzerland, their snow is like way worse than England snow, so I wish I had a pair of wellies.
The only one problem that I did have was there's going to be a part 2 to 3 weeks into learning where you don't understand how the system operates, and that's you just got to remember it was like that the first time you came to Kent, because you'd never learnt at degree level. And when you go to a different country, especially when you study in Asia, their idea of terms are different. The way that they communicate ideas is very different, and just the overall structure of the course is going to be very different. You just got to be careful that you don't let that get you too down, because again, in 2 months' time, just again everything clicks into place and you realise, yeah, this is how this works, this is how that works.
Even if the worst happens, don't panic, because people in Kent and wherever you are, they'll always be there to help you.
If I could do it all over again, I would just enjoy every single moment 10 times more.
Make sure I started my travelling at the start of the year and didn't squeeze it all in at the end.
Differently, I'd just do it again.